management, for maintenance, right? We're up here, we're gonna get our work done. These are the steps. You give yourself some type of leverage, right? Where you can grab the back of this. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull that lever down. Okay? You don't have to necessarily hold it because it's not gonna stay in place. All it is like a clutch, right? So you just engage it. Notice how this lever doesn't do anything right here, right now. Okay? You're gonna go down. It gives it a little bit more freedom. So what you're gonna do is engage it. Once you release it, you can push back on it. Okay? You keep your hand here as support, but once you have enough play on it that it catches, you let it go. You don't have to hold it. And now it's open. Okay? To release it and lock it back, that's all it is. You just give it a nice little tap forward, and it just locks it and closes it right back up. So we'll go ahead and open it. Feed your cable through. It only has one way to go in, but it has multiple ways to come out, okay? Because once it comes out, I'll show you guys right now. Now all of this has like grommets in here, right? All oiled up. That's part of the mechanism that these levers go. So the cable has to feed through like that mechanism. Sometimes what happens is that it gets stuck, right? So the only thing you have to do is play with these levers. Move the levers up and down, move them around so you get that clean slot. There's no way of really seeing it because you can't see inside of it. It's just feeling it, right? So you have to mess with the levers. All right, that's good. Once you come out, you have a rubber gasket right here on the inside, okay, right inside this red hook. The cable feeds through that, okay? If it comes out through the opposite side and then it intertwines and it comes through the shackle, pull it back out, make sure it's clear and free, okay, and it's not obstructed by anything. We'll proceed by getting your hook, open that up. You're gonna go to the top of your lifting bracket. Hook that in place. Now all this slack, you can go ahead and pull it. Once you got it nice and tight, lock that in place. Now we're good. That cable's not gonna slide out. We're locked in. We can continue with the install. Again, remember I mentioned earlier about the plate that you have here, right? It's all normal, right? The bottom lever closest to the red hook raises the equipment. The top lever closest to the yellow hook lowers it. So, once you go up, that play on this lifting bracket is now gone, okay? Because now it's holding the weight of the system that's already raised. Now this turf right here has 360 rotation around, all the way around, okay? And now that's just for comfort. Okay, depending how you're more comfortable, if you're here and you want to be pulling here, or if you want to be pulling up top or down on that side, that's just usage. And because sometimes you get into little cubby areas where you have a wall like this where you don't have that much room, spin it around, go to the opposite side. Or if in the opposite side you have the same thing where you have a parapet here and you have a rail here and you're kind of stuck in a little zone, then you're here, up and down this way. Okay, that's why it has this movement all around. And you see the movement, it's here at this shackle. Okay, go ahead. And once we raise this system, you're gonna get it to about waist high. Okay, it's gonna be different for every user depending on the height, but the best spot for it would be about waist high. Okay, that way you're not lowered or bent over too much, and you're not lifting too high when you're inserting this arm. Okay, now we'll go ahead and insert this arm. Now the key here is to just be in line with each other and communicate. Okay, you're gonna have aluminum rubbing on the galvanized bracket there, so it's just metal on metal. Okay, so you want to make sure you communicate with each other, because if I'm too far forward or too far back, then we're not gonna get that in there. Okay, it does have some nylon guides here and some stainless guides here, that's mainly for the swing of the arm, the 360 swing. So it's not literally rubbing on the metal. You have some type of assistance on the rotation. It doesn't help with the sliding in part. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, you have a spring clip here, okay, that sort of locks this arm in place. Okay, that's how you know that this system is properly installed. You have a groove on the top of this mass here, and this arm itself has the pin. That spring pin snaps right into that little groove, and then you're locked in place. Okay, what that does is that prevents this arm from sliding out. Okay, so now we're locked in there, we're good. As we continue raising, notice how he has his hand on that up there, right? The reason being is because you're just taking a little bit of the weight off. If he has that down on the ground just dragging, and I'm raising here, I'm the one that's going to be struggling because the equipment's just going to be dragging itself on the roof. By doing that, you lift some of the weight off of it, and it just gives you an aid, so you're not working twice as hard, okay? These turfers are rated for 2,000 pounds, so they can handle the load, but still, this way you make it easier for the operator to not work as hard, raising twice as much. All right, once you get it lined up, you can let it go, and we're good. When it's in this position here, it's the easiest you're gonna have the movement. Why? Because all the weight is evenly distributed in the direction of the orientation of your davit. So it's nice and smooth, it'll go up nice and easy. It'll be way lighter than when the arm is swung out the opposite way, okay? You have your swing lock here, okay? This lock, basically what it does is it locks you in place, okay? Right there. So notice how it still has a little bit of play, right? But you're locked, which means that this arm won't rotate 360 anymore. It stays in place. You line yourself up wherever you need to be in the building. You lock the arm and you're controlled to that drop specifically, whether you're swinging left or right. You don't have to be having that full freedom of movement where the arm can swing or things of that nature. Okay, so you lock it in place. Now, when you're gonna bring the system down, like we have there, you wanna make sure that that arm is unlocked. Okay, because if that arm were to be in that position there and it is locked in place, you will not bring that down, okay? Because all your weight is outbound. Those pins have all the weight on them. Even when you hook up the turfer, do anything of that nature, you won't be able to slide that pin out. You could get a beater or hammer or whatever and try to, it won't come out because all your weight is off, okay? So you're putting all the stress on those pins in the opposite direction. You're not gonna be able to pull them out, okay? So make sure your arm is unlocked. That way you can swing it around, line it up in the orientation of your davit, and then you can bring your arm down, okay? So go ahead and keep this unlocked so we have that freedom. Your trolley, make sure your trolley is unlocked right now, all right? Free to move. Go ahead, go up. Because I'm not hooking any cables up to it yet, we'll go ahead and lock it in place, okay? Because if I don't have anything on it, if I don't have anything on it and we set it up all the way and it swings over, then I'm gonna struggle to bring it back, all right? So at this point here, when you have it in this position, is where you would hook up your cables for your stage, okay? Notice how we already have that one set up and rigged up, okay? So at this point here, when you have access to it, you hook up your shackles, you hook up your cables, have your spool here, and then you can continue raising the equipment. If you don't hook up your cables here, then once again, you expose yourself to a fall hazard because you raise the system all the way up. Now you're 10, 12 feet in the air, and the only way to get to it is with a ladder, right? Because you're too lazy to bring the stuff back down. Again, don't expose yourself to that. Follow the steps. When we're here at this position, hook your cables up. Go ahead and continue raising the system. One key thing that I always like to point out is the fact that we don't carry tools for this particular setup, okay? When it comes down to setting up the davits or setting this stuff up, I don't carry anything with me. Okay, you don't need a beater, you don't need anything of that nature. If you're doing it right and following the steps, there's no need for tools to do this. Okay, and that's the thing I like to point out, because again, it comes back to those pins where some guys like to just beat those pins in, right? You don't need anything. As long as you have this turfer, it does all the work for you. Okay, so once you have the hole on the mast starts lining up with the hole on the portable bracket, you go nice and slow. Okay, make sure you're lined up. Now, the mistake that some make is that they just keep going, right, without paying attention to it or communicating to each other. And this mast at some point is going to shift back because of the weight, right? If you're a new time user and you're not familiar with it, it's going to scare you. It's going to spook you. So the first thing you're going to do is jump off the way. Now, if for whatever reason you had some type of tool or material or something on you and you jump out the way, then you expose your partner here to an accident, because the first thing you did was drop everything and jump out. So whatever it is that you had is going to fall on him, right? So just be mindful of that. This bracket here that you see here, it's going to stop this mast regardless. So it's not going to go up and over. It's not going to swing back. Sure, it has a little bit of play, right? But this tube steel here is going to stop you. You'll see it where it lines up right here with this bracket here and it hits. You can't go further than that, because your lifting bracket is already attached to your portable head, so it's all one system there. And that's what that's for. It's an aid to help you out as you're lifting and to prevent this from coming back, okay? So once you get to that position there, you just continue. Go ahead. Nice and easy. All right. Hold it there. See that? Okay? Nice and easy. If you have it in a nice spot, you line it up, you communicate, you keeping an eye on that, you're not going to struggle to put that pin in. And that's what you want. If you're struggling, then something's wrong. Switch the lever, go to the top one, release some tension, switch it back around, go up again, and play with it, right? Another thing that you can do is, if you had the cables already attached to it, then you just rock it a little, right? It might be minimal that is not letting you put that pin in, right? And you've already messed with the turfer and it's still not doing it, then you can just rock it right here, okay? You rock it enough to where it's just gonna vibrate, wiggle, and slide itself in. This play here that you see, it's all normal. It's all part of it, because there's no weight to it. Once you hang the stage and you have the tension of your stage and the weight of that, this system locks up and it won't do what it's doing right now. Okay? So that completes your davit setup. Is there any questions to this point right now? No? Okay, so what we're gonna do is reverse it, take it apart, so you guys can see the tear down, and that way we don't have to do it at the end, and we just take care of it now, okay? So to release it, now you wanna pause that real quick? Get some water.